No matter what I feel about Pushpa Part 1, there are three things that are undeniable. Its commercial success and popularity, the songs were all bangers, and the conviction brought by Allu Arjun to the role of Pushpa. While many popular YouTubers claim for there to be a crossroads of all universes in this film, sometimes making me feel like they know about the plot of Pushpa the Rule better than Sukumar himself, it's been more or less a mystery of where this storyline is headed. I can neither confirm nor deny, पर सुना है कि रॉबर्ट डाउनी जूनियर का आयरन मैन भी पुष्पा में कैमियो कर सकता है और इसी लुक के हिसाब से जापानीज एनिमे वर्ल्ड का भी इंटीग्रेशन हो सकता है। कुछ रूमर से तो ये भी पता चला है कि डीमन स्लेयर के कैरेक्टर्स भी क्लाइमैक्स में आ सकते हैं पुष्पा की हेल्प करने, और तो और पठान, रॉकी भाई और सलार के भी आने की संभावना है।
कुछ भी
A tale of the rise of Pushpa played by Allu Arjun, who goes from a mere labourer to an influential mobster of the Red Sandalwood Syndicate. Of course, laced with the most uncomfortable romantic subplot where our celebrated hero trades a wet kiss for 5,000 rupees. I think other than the misogynistic elements of the film that we have spoken about in great detail and length, my biggest gripe with the film was on how everything seemed to be set up for the second part, in turn making you feel like everything is a precursor to the ultimate battle between Pushpa and Bhavar Singh played by Fahadh Faasil in part 2. Characters like Konda Reddy, Jali Reddy, Daksha and Mangalam Srinu just were not exciting enough for me, making me feel like they really left it till very late to introduce the ultimate antagonist of this saga. If I were to think about the film in retrospect, I was actually the most invested on the familial emotional impact on Pushpa, being an out-of-wedlock son and how it impacts his sense of home and family. Again, its celebration of success is undeniable. I understand that I am the minority, so I tuned in today as the trailer dropped, hoping and praying that Sukumar makes the wait worthwhile, makes the ultimate duel worth every penny, and more importantly, doesn't deviate too far away from the core battle. Does the trailer promise the same and more? Let's pack in everything. One thing that is clear in every frame of this trailer is that they have gone all guns blazing for part 2. They have truly embarked on an all or nothing path, which can be a double-edged sword. It provides for this big screen spectacle we all want, but it does sometimes take away from what is drawing the audience in, which is the clash between Pushpa and Bhavar Singh. Scale necessarily doesn't equate to a paisa vasool experience, but when I look at the frames, the locations and the sheer budget at which this saga is unfolding in part 2, it really does feel like they are leaving no stone unturned, which can go either way honestly. But you have to commend the conviction of the makers. The more I see the trailer though, especially the mannerisms of Pushpa, the way he conducts himself with his chewing tobacco, the more it makes sense why the makers have done the trailer launch in Patna. The popularity of the street thug persona of Pushpa, especially his mannerisms, the way he dresses, is something that especially the tier 2 and tier 3 cities of North India connected with, more than the Telugu states, most of whom found the film to be quite average by the way. I mean, if you just look at the crowd of the trailer event of this film, it just tells you what a craze this film has become in Hindi more than in Telugu. Coming back to the style statement, you know, a scruffy beard, the most gaudy shirts and gold jewelry covered from head to toe, almost an in-your-face style statement lacking any kind of subtlety, because subtle and Pushpa in the same sentence makes no sense. I must commend the costume department genuinely in this case, because just looking at the sheer looks of Allu Arjun, you can see he's making sure you understand I am not taking the success of the previous film for granted. I mean business. You can see it in every frame. Many people dismissively call this chapri, which is an offensive caste-based term anyway, but you have to understand that the styling of Pushpa is an extension of his personality. A rowdy who makes it big way too fast. It's entirely intentional. Some of the frames really made me mesmerized, especially the frames that present almost the mania surrounding the rise of Pushpa, presenting him as a demigod worshipped in the Red Sandalwood Syndicate that has essentially become his cult. Cinematographer Miroslav Kuba Brozek seems to have understood the assignment when given the instruction that Pushpa has to be larger than life. That is definitely not going unnoticed in the trailer and its visuals. The frames that I am huge hugely concerned about is the sequence in the dockyard. I know the film is about smuggling and it is bound to have an action set piece in a dockyard, but my god, am I getting fed up of these dockyard action set pieces. It was in Varasa, it was in that terrible Kannada film I will never name, it was in Singham again, and now we have it here too. I think a huge part of part 2 will be the chapter of Japan, in which the syndicate reaches a global level, and Pushpa's greed will have no limits. This is where I am slightly concerned because I hope the integration of an international location is not merely for an action set piece. You know, you've got Japanese extras with swords surrounding him, and all of it is very gimmicky, especially when you look at some of the physics-defying frames. I hope that it is actually an essential element of the screenplay and not just a fluff piece. My biggest problem, of course, with the first film was the courting process of Pushpa and Srivalli. And they are married here, which allows hopefully for no more stalking and misogyny because, well, Pushpa in a dialogue literally states that he's going to show the impact of listening to your wife. So are we really going to get a woke Pushpa in part 2? Well, it seems to be the case. The biggest gripe most people had with part 2 was not actually the romance, but how little we got to see Fahadh Faasil as Bhavar Singh. And I love that his introduction is with the Main Hoon Dawn title track. See, Bhavar Singh was absolutely shamed in the climax of Pushpa 1, so he is going to come with an absolute vengeance. The main reason for my excitement, to see Fahadh absolutely go crazy as a villain. If the makers make him just a generic villain that sparingly features in part 2, I will be really bummed out. One of the best elements of the first film was the cheeky nature with which these egos were clashing with one another. And if that is not expanded upon, if that doesn't lead to more face-offs, I think it will be a huge opportunity lost, especially when you have two actors who are at their prime at this point in their careers. A montage of the crime syndicate and its members continue, making me curious about who this character is and whether it is an addition to another unhinged antagonist that will come between Pushpa's rise. What becomes very clear to me is that Pushpa 2, the rule, like the scale at which the Red Sandalwood syndicate is widening, will have no middle ground. Either it's going to be celebrated like KGF 2 or will be absolutely ridiculed like how Race 3 was. There will be no in between. A montage of the action set pieces follow, and the more I see Bhavar Singh in action, the more I get excited to see this face off. Be it shotguns or hand-to-hand combat, I need it all. Anything. But just please build on this anti-hero and antagonist brawl to be the core of this film. There is a trend too with these pan-Indian films which becomes viral worthy where they speak in broken English dialogues. Pushpa flower nahi wildfire hai, Rocky Bhai's violence. Mass dialogues which don't really make sense to me. I'm not really a fan of them, but hey, if it really clicks with the masses, then it is what it is. I found it cringe then and I still find it cringe. I genuinely hope the scale does not absolutely compromise a good, fun commercial movie in theatres. I did not enjoy the first film even after a repeat viewing, but I hope Sukumar delivers an entertaining ride at least. I see glimpses where this is possible, but from the films that have come out in 2024, I have been scammed many times. I hope it's a wild ride and not a wild scam that we waited years for. I think it's very important that I don't get ahead of myself and manage my expectations, as should all of you. And that was the video, guys. Write down in the comments below what you thought about the Pushpa 2 trailer. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram. The handle is right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.